You are at Lake Rant, where I rant about whatever my $15 a month plus patrons want me to rant about. You can get one of these by being one of those. This one is for Ariel Schligman, who says, "Could you rant about Kamen Rider Gaim, as it's the Kamen Rider show Gen Urobuchi wrote? I think you would like it." Well, I checked out the first episode, much as I did last month with the new Kamen Rider show, which I had absolutely loved. And Gaim, I felt kind of torn about the first episode, at least. Now, I knew about this show back when it was first coming out because of Urobuchi Gen's involvement. Um, if you don't know who he is, he wrote Psychopaths, Madoka Magica, a bunch of visual novels and stuff. Go look him up. Fate Zero, the original light novels. But, he was writing Kamen Rider, and the thing about Kamen Rider is that it is inherently formulaic. It is inherently sort of a monster of the week fighting show made for children on the weekends, and as such, there are certain elements that are just always going to be there, that are always going to sort of be going down the list. That Kamen Rider fans kind of have an inherent interest in on like a metatextual level of comparing the different shows and just enjoying those central gimmicks. And to some extent, I do. Though I've seen very little Kamen Rider. I've not seen more than one episode of any of the seasons. I know very little about it overall. I don't really know even the trajectory of how the stories tend to go. I've seen more Super Sentai. I've seen plenty of Precure. And all that stuff kind of runs in the same block. But like my overall literacy of Kamen Rider is fairly low. So watching the first episode, the first half of it introduces a fairly complex setting and a whole bunch of characters. And I was definitely interested in how distinctive the setting was for this, being a live action show set in Japan. It's very much its own like technological future. It's set in like a sci-fi-ish, cyberpunk-ish kind of setting that also has like these weird Yu-Gi-Oh games going on where you summon like creatures from another dimension to fight for you. So you've got that, and then there's like a mega corporation called Yggdrasil behind the scenes, which of course one of my favorite words is Yggdrasil. So excited to see that. And the main characters are a dance crew, but they're also going to become fruit-themed Kamen Riders. So there's like a lot of weird, distinct details in the story all going on at once. And setting up the world and characters for the first half was somewhat interesting, somewhat entertaining. The second half goes more down the road of, kind of stretching out the episode a bit, but there's a big fight scene. There's some more revelations about the writer powers, the main character, getting to learn all the tools at his disposal and setting up some kind of central vague mystery in the dialogue. And the second half of the episode felt like I could have basically skipped it, like as long as I knew the facts of the situation, like that okay, he got his Kamen Rider power and he saw the girl in like a mysterious way. Like, it felt like this is gonna be every episode. Like every episode, I'll probably feel like, the first half is like interesting plot details and setup. The second half is a big dumb fight scene, and I mean that's fine. That's how most of these shows kind of go. I'm sure it could be entertaining, and I've heard that this show has like certain episodes that are best to just skip, the ones that Butch Gen didn't write. But overall, it's a good show. I'm willing to believe that. I'd like to give it a shot, but like the biggest thing that was keeping me from enjoying this one as much as the other one that I watched was the directing. The new show has this very lively style that feels almost like an anime, the way that characters move, the way that things are shot, but it's super dynamic. The camera is always doing something interesting. There's great choreography, great special effects. This show feels comparably very TV drama. It's very cheaply shot. Like, in spite of the fact that, they go to the trouble of having all these sets and costumes and everything, like, it looks like it's shot on like a camcorder, and there's just lots of weird cutting, odd framing of shots. It doesn't feel like it was made with the same like visual vision, if you will. Like somebody really taking each shot and thinking about like what would be the most kick-ass way to make the scene play out. It's more like I don't know, workman-like in a way. It's more about like just getting the shot, and less about the visual cohesion between them. So it wasn't as like engaging to watch on the moment-to-moment level. It felt more like I was watching a typical TV show. You know, the acting was more typical, the camera work, all that didn't have that same energy that the new show did. And it's not to say that it looked bad. I mean, a lot of the shots I would say are kind of chaotic. Um, there's a lot of visual information. The audio is weird because of the fact that it seems like it was almost recorded separately. But I still enjoyed it. I was still entertained. I would still be curious to watch more. The constant overclocking, i.e., speeding up, or underclocking rather, the constant sped up scenes were really funny. There's tons of like speeding up in all throughout the episode. I guess just to make things fit the time. And again, it felt like this is not the best made show. It might have decent writing, it might have cool effects here and there, you might like the costumes, which I thought the costumes in this one were okay. Like the main Kamen Rider, I like the idea that he's orange themed. His armor was there's kind of like a discordance between the like base elements and the armor elements of it. And it just wasn't as striking a design to me as like the newer design or some of the other Kamen Riders I've seen. I did like that his sword was an orange slice though. That was a lot of fun. But like, yeah, it was just such a mishmash. There was so much going on. It was hard to get a sense of like exactly what the show is beyond the typical Kamen Rider formula, but with trappings of a weird Butch Gen cyberpunk-ish futuristic story. So, I don't know. I'd be curious to give it more of a shot, but I definitely did not enjoy it as much as I did enjoy that episode of the new show.